there is wisdom in age.
Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome back to Making Space. Not just a podcast, but a place for honest, open conversations about where people have been and who they're becoming. I'm excited to introduce you all to my special guest in today's episode. I've known her since I was born because she's my mom. She's been a huge fan of the podcast since it started and faithfully posts my new episodes on her WhatsApp status so all of her friends can listen, which I love. If I could briefly describe my mom, I would say she's the older, funnier, and more fashionable version of me. Today, after waking up and realizing that my sore throat was more than a sore throat, I had the sudden urge to text her and let her know that I was sick. Not because she lives nearby or can come over to take care of me, but simply because, in a weird way, it's comforting for me to know that she knows. She immediately called to ask how I was doing and pray for my healing. And I feel like this is just a small example of how we never really outgrow needing our parents' love. I'm so interested by the evolving relationships we have with our parents as we get older. And as a child of immigrants, it's also been interesting to see how the different cultures we were raised in has impacted our relationship. This episode was also inspired by a simple question. What is something you wish you could ask your mom? Thank you to everyone that sent me their questions via text or on Instagram. Shameless plug to follow at the Making Space podcast on Instagram. I really enjoyed going through them with my mom, and I can't wait for you all to hear her responses. She may also get a chance to put me in the hot seat towards the end, and it may get a little unhinged, so I'll leave you with that. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I know you've been wanting to come on for a while.
Sure, here I am.
So I'm going to ask you the question I ask everyone that joins. What is something you have learned or that you are currently learning that you wish your younger self could have known?
Okay, it's not really something my younger self would have known. It's something my mid-age self would have known. Leaving my job to relocate without really completing a tenure. Yeah, before I moved to the US, I had already worked for 10 years at my job. Yes, I tried to begin the process of disengaging from the job because I was almost due, to get an entitlement, having worked up to 10 years. But I started it and I did not get it completed. So on relocating to US, I realized that I should have completed it fully so as to transfer my years of service.
So what would you tell your younger self about that?
I would tell my younger self to, ask more questions and get more clarity before taking some decisions.
So do you feel like you moved impulsively or because it was just the best opportunity for you to move, that's why you didn't take all those things?
Not really impulsively because it was the best opportunity. It's still a good opportunity, but if I had taken those 10 years, it would have really helped me now, to retire at this age.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. You learn in hindsight, everything is 2020.
Yeah. But it's okay. Everything happens for a reason,
Yeah. So getting to the questions, I like this one. I think this one is interesting. So if we were around the same age and unrelated, do you think we would be friends? Do you think when you were 24 years old, we would have been friends?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Yeah, because we have maybe because you're my daughter, we have some things in common, or you have some qualities that I would want to have in a friend. So I think we would have been friends, yeah.
What qualities?
Like you're focused, you're you like God, your Christian life, you're intelligent, you're smart, I'm not here to talk about your good qualities, but somebody I want as a friend will be somebody who knows what they are doing and not just somebody who is just anyhow. You're well organized. You're
Oh,
organized, yes. The way you put your room together, I want my roommate to have that kind of qualities.
nice. So, another interesting question that I got was, when did you first believe in Jesus for yourself? So, not just because of like your family or your upbringing, but when did you make your own conscious decision?
Um, we were brought up, growing up, I didn't start when I was younger. My father was not really a church going believer. He believed in African traditional religion. So, but I went to an Anglican school, an Anglican boarding school. And from there, we started. My mom is the opposite. She was born a true Baptist. So even despite my dad's traditional belief, she tried her best, to teach us to know God. It was hard, but when I got into boarding school, in secondary school, we had to, really follow the Bible, go to church, and I got baptized. I didn't get baptized as a child. I was in the boarding house. I got baptized and got confirmed, and that was really when I believed in God and Jesus.
And how old were you at that time?
I was like, maybe like 10, 11, yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. So, you kind of started talking about the things that led you up until immigrating here. What would you say was the hardest part about immigrating to the US? And like, did you ever have any regrets about moving?
The hardest part was leaving my family and friends because I was already established in Nigeria, sort of working. But everybody wants a greener pasture, and then going to the US is like the dream, everybody's dream, And I got it by winning the lottery, which made it more enticing.
The visa lottery.
Yeah, the visa lottery.
Hmm.
I don't really have much regret except about leaving my job the way I did. That was now later. I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about it, yeah. But at that moment, it was about leaving my friends and my family. But everybody were excited for me. They wanted me to go. Everybody was excited. That was what everybody wanted to do. And it was like I got it just like that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because the last episode we were talking about moving like out of state, but I feel like it's way more intimidating to move to a different
To a
country.
different country and to come and start having children. And back home, my dream was that when I will have a baby back home, my mother will be there. You'll have people to help you. I came pregnant and had a baby, nobody, just by myself. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, an interesting question is there anything you wish you would have experienced or done differently before you had kids?
Not really, because I didn't have kids early. So I was already ready to have kids when I started having children. So I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, cuz you were like in your 30s.
Yes, I was in my almost my mid 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, so you feel like you had lived a full life
Yes, yes, yes.
before then.
Before coming, I had lived a full life. Yeah. I lived a full life.
That's nice. Would you give someone the same advice to feel like they should accomplish all the things they want to accomplish before having kids? But is there a certain timeline or is it just different for everyone?
I think it's different from everyone. And there are certain things we can't really say, oh, this will happen at this time, it will happen at this time, because there are things that we cannot control. So you don't want to get bogged down with, oh, at 24, I should be graduating or whatever year you want to graduate.
Yeah.
At 26, I should be married, because you can, even after you have graduated and you get married, you may decide an opportunity may come and you want to go back to school. So there's no really, there's no set time.
Mm. How would you describe what it feels like to be a mom?
Hmm. Being a mom is a lot of work. You're a mother, you're a housemaid, you're the teacher, you're the doctor, you are everything. You are the financial planner for the home. It's a lot of work. And to add, if you now add to it a working mother, that's way is a lot of work. It feels very demanding, exhausting, but fulfilling.
Mm.
Demanding, exhausting, fulfilling.
Do you feel like you felt the fulfilling parts while we were younger, or was it, or did you not feel that until we got older and you could see, oh, this is like the fruit of my labor? Or did you start feeling it earlier
I
on?
started feeling it earlier on because pretty much I've been blessed with very level-minded children. Nobody gave me stress that is out of the ordinary when you were growing up, because they were children in their teens that can give parents too much trouble, especially in the teenage years. I never experienced it with you all. So I started feeling the fulfillment of it when you all were younger. More so, you all were doing very excellently well in school and making me proud. So yeah, I felt that my labor of the work I did for you all at a younger age, that it paid off. You know,
Mm,
yeah. In the high
yeah.
school days, I didn't have to. There are parents that will have to do homework for their children and stuff like that in high school, run after them to turn in assignments. I never had to do that much. You were all like self-directed. You were self-directed. So that took away a lot of burden from me. Yeah.
Yeah. So this question is a serious question that I need to answer to.
Mhm.
Why are mothers always right? Usually, I mean, depending on your mom,
Yeah.
everyone's mom is different. But like overarching, there's this saying like mother knows best. Like why does that happen where you find later on like, oh, my mom was always saying this thing and I didn't believe her until.
Because we have seen it all. We have passed through that stage you are passing. There is wisdom in age. Okay.
Mm,
So that thing you're going, it may not be at the same level. The way we went through things you are advising you or telling you may not be the way you're going it, but by and large, it is the same. It is the same issues, it's the same life issues. And you cannot ignore the wisdom that comes with age. There is a saying that what a mother or an elder sees sitting down when the child is standing will not be able to see it. It's just the wisdom that comes with age
mm.
and experience too, because we must have experienced some of those life experiences. Because we have gone through some of those life experiences.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's kind of like how you feel when you have a teacher. So I feel like growing up, whenever I had a teacher, it would just be like the teacher's life is teaching. Like you wouldn't think that the teacher had a life outside of teaching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
Even
mm-hmm.
though you are my mom and you were a teacher and I knew you had a life outside of being a teacher, I feel like in some ways it's similar to just in some ways you see your parents, you just forget that they have a life out
Mm-hmm.
like before you and they have a life now.
Now, and they will say have a life later. Mhm.
Yeah, you just kind of only see them in the present and you forget.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how I would describe it. Okay, this is a good question. How did you choose my name?
The traditional name or the
You can do both.
okay. I chose Ekenem Chukwu because in Nigeria, every Christian gives a name that is, we always giving glory to God for everything that has happened to us. Okay. And you being my second child, the first one I have given that child that there's nothing God cannot do. Having started having children late and it was easy. Then the second one you came, I'm giving God the glory for that. That is for Ekenem Chukwu, which means that I thank God for, what he has done. Then I chose Daniel from the Daniel in the Bible. Okay, because Daniel was highly favored, he was a great man, and I felt the name Daniel is more modern than Sarah and Hannah,
sorry to anyone named Sarah or Hannah.
because those are other. Okay, I won't say more modern; it's more common. Those are the names we give: Mary, Sarah, Hannah.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, okay, I needed a modern one.
You were trying to be unique.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So I said, okay, Daniel, let me take that since I know that it's from Daniel. And I didn't want to take Daniela because it will be kind of ethnic. I wanted it to be an English name.
Nice.
That's how I chose Daniel.
So, what was the first similar characteristic you noticed between us as I was growing up? Like, what was the first thing you noticed that you were like, oh, she probably got this from me versus my dad?
Intelligence.
Hmm.
Yeah, intelligence. You in school as a kid, even from kinder, the way you were doing excellently well in school, the way you answer questions, the way you did your homework, I knew that you had something up here, like me.
Nice. What is the scariest part about raising kids?
The scariest part. Um, it's the fear the fear of getting involved in any of the vices in the society and also not being independent.
Hmm.
Not being independent because you see a lot of kids are not able to stand on their own even till later age. The desire of every parent is to train a child and send that child off to live his or her life independently because you've given that child all the tools. And if that doesn't happen, you're worried. You want it to happen. Not necessarily that that child is going to come take care of you, because in the life of today, parents work and they retire and they are able to take care of themselves. But for that child, so that in your old age, you're not bogged down with that child depending on you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received. I've received a lot of advice, but I think that's a hard one.
Or one that you still remember, one that stuck with you for a long time?
To always be myself. Always be myself and not try to be what I am not just to impress people. To be myself in everything I do.
Hmm. And do you feel like you've been able to stick with that, like even after moving and just like different life changes?
Yeah. I've been able to stick with that. And even with that, be yourself still comes to standing up for what you believe so that nobody runs over you at any time. I've stuck with it, and it has helped me,
Yeah.
especially in this environment where there's too many things going on. I can be myself. Yeah. Love yourself. I love myself.
Period.
Can be by myself. I don't mind. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about how you raised me?
No. I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. You turned out to be the best daughter anybody can wish for. So why will I have any regret?
Okay. What is your best relationship advice?
Be yourself. Make sure you know that individual before venturing into that relationship. And also look for somebody that loves you and knows God. So in fact, that's the first one because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Somebody that loves the Lord and loves you unconditionally for who you are, and be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how do you know you really know someone? I feel like this is something I'm running into with my friends. And it's like you thought you knew this person and then they suddenly.
Change because that is life. Human beings just change. They can just, and some people can pretend too, but they can change. Human beings change. But if it happens, then that person is not for you. You move on.
Hmm. What is one thing you wish I was more confident about?
One thing I wish you were more confident about. Yeah, but what I think I may be wrong.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm going to say trying out new things. It can be in fashion, it can be in
Stop.
food, it can be just trying out new things, not sticking to your own. This is the way you want to do it, sticking to it. No.
Okay, here's another question. Is it true that in some ways we grow up to just become our mothers? Like we become very similar to the way our mothers were?
I think so, because some of those are learned behaviors. Okay, they are learned behavior. So there are certain things you have learned from home growing up, and you will grow up with it. Like, let's say, for example, being organized. If all your life your mom has been very organized and from childhood she taught you that you have to put your things right, you're going to grow up having that kind of tendency. Like personally, I think there are certain traits from my mother that I still have, especially in the area of keeping my things, being organized. This is kind of funny. You see me wrap my purses in a bag and stuff like that. Don't just throw it. That's what my mom does. You see me holding on to stuff for a long time. That's what my mom does, and she's still doing it even in her 90s. And even the way you look, the way you dress at times, it's what my mom did. Up to now, she still like to look good and just, yeah, you grow up to be like them.
Yeah.
Though you may now get some of your own individual characteristics, but some of them you still take it along. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something you like doing when you were younger that you wish you could still do now?
Mm, I like traveling. I can still do it now. I like traveling a lot. So, but I'm not doing it that much now because of maybe time. But I like traveling to go visit friends and family. I like it a lot. That's what
Hmm.
I'm going to be doing. Like now that I don't have you all, I've left the house. It's something I wish I can be doing. I'm looking forward to coming to visit all of you. You too. Maybe I will come this spring break.
Stay tuned. When have I most surprised you?
When have you most surprised me? When after you got to UT, you just from nowhere changed your major.
Are you serious right now?
And okay, that's another one. And when you sent me the Cancun trip that you organized for me on my 60th birthday, that
Okay,
was the biggest surprise.
let's go back to the major change because for me that was not out of nowhere.
Yes, it
So
was.
when I was a freshman, I started as a chemistry major, and then
Mhm.
by the end of the first semester, I changed to human development and family sciences, which is what I graduated with. So you're saying you were shocked that I changed out of chemistry?
Yeah, because you just from nowhere told me that you were changing. In fact, it looked like you just got to UT and you just changed. Yeah, you took me unawares. You didn't even when you now took you should have said, okay, mom, I'm just doing it so that I will get in. I may change, but from nowhere.
But what was I going to do with that degree?
Because you said you were going to be a doctor.
I already knew I wasn't going to be a doctor by then.
But you never told me that.
Maybe you just you never registered that the doctor dream was over.
Yeah, because we knew that we would not have taken chemistry. But that's okay. But the most one was when we went with the Cancun trip. That was unexpected. I was shocked. In my wildest dream, I didn't even think about that.
I love surprises.
Yeah, you sure do.
What do you wish what do you wish I understood about you?
That anything I say or anything I did or said, it wasn't from trying to control you. It was just, it may not sound maybe the way it came out because of the way I talk. You may think I'm trying to put my, you know, be an authoritarian over you or just tell you do this, you have to do it like that, or force you to take a decision. No, I was just trying to the best for you because I know that few occasions that maybe came out wrongly, and those were the few times you just got angry, just got mad at me and tried to fight back.
So you're saying you wish I understood that in those moments you weren't trying to control me, you were
Yes,
just
yes, yes, yes.
sharing.
Sharing things I feel, you should do it like this because at this stage of life, you should be doing this. At this stage of life, you should be wearing this.
Oh my gosh. No comment. What do you hope our relationship will look like as I get older?
Right now is very good. I even want it closer, come to, visit each other, visit you, spend time with you. because you're my sister. My sister.
What do you hope it will look like as I get older?
Closer and friendship. We share a lot of things together, travel together as you get older. But when you now get married, I'll come to visit you
Okay.
and spend time with you and family.
Okay, now that I put you in the hot seat. So, do you have any questions for me? I didn't let you think of them in advance though. So
Yes, you should have let me think about it. Okay, how can you grade me as a mother?
what?
Okay, what are some things you wish I had taught you as a mother that I did not do?
Wish you had taught me?
Yes, that I did not do.
I don't know.
Now you're in the hot seat. There you go. Answer the question. Answer the question. Stop laughing. Answer the question.
I'm actually trying to think. It's hard to answer because when I'm growing up, I don't know what information I need.
Okay.
I guess, well,
Spit it out.
this
Spit it
is
out. I'm not going to be mad. Spit it out.
this is just across the board. I feel
Uh,
like that parents do not teach their kids about, which is just like your reproductive system and all of those like hormones growing up, what you experience, romantic relationships, things related to that. I feel like you
you
just,
didn't teach here. It's from because of our African background.
yeah.
We don't really, and because too, we just feel that, oh, when our children are in elementary, high school, they shouldn't be talking, romantic relationship. So by the time they are in college, you don't really have that time
Yeah.
to really teach it. And we just feel that, okay, they will learn it. But I think it's a good thing to teach. Yes, to talk about it. Talk about it. It's good to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of mother would you say I was growing up and I am now?
That's a good question. I feel like growing up, you were more strict, not super strict. Like, I think you trusted me, so I had more freedom in that sense. Like, you weren't always breathing down my neck, but more strict as along with most African parents, like, no sleepovers, you're not staying out too late. Like, we had chores that we did, things like we had structure in some sense, things that I wore. um but now I definitely think it's easier to talk to you about things, and I can see a lot of it just comes from a place of care as a parent. And I think you just had a lot on your plate growing up, so yeah, there was just more for you to deal with, more for you to think about versus now I think maybe you have more time, which makes you more easygoing.
Okay. So that time I wasn't easygoing. That's okay.
It's not that you were easygoing, but as a kid, you're just like.
I was a mom, a typical African mom. Were you ever whooped as a child?
Why are you
Did,
asking
did, did,
this? Why, why are you asking like you don't know?
were you? How will you say? I'm going to ask you the same question you were asking me. How will you say I am financially. We're dealing with finance. Will you call me a frugal mom, a bargain hunter? How do I handle finance?
I feel like you are always financially wise. You would always talk about the importance of like a credit score, even when I didn't know what that was. You're more frugal. I was telling someone actually the other day, I was like, now I understand what it's like to go to the grocery store and be like, why is this so expensive? This cereal I like is like $6. In my head, it no longer registers as, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, cereal should not be this expensive. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like my mom, because growing up, she'd be like, why do you need this cereal that is like this? And I would be like, it's just $6. Like, it's not even that bad. But now when I'm paying for it and I'm adding everything up and I'm seeing how, I'm like, actually, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Why you have to now get the store brand instead of the name brand. Anyway, how can you rate our relationship?
How would I rate it?
Mm. No, will you say is good, is great, or is poor?
I would say it's good. I know you're always there when I need to talk or have things on my mind or need support or prayer. You're always someone I can go to. And I definitely think it has improved since I moved. Okay, is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you wanted to share in this episode? Any advice? Any wisdom?
The advice is continue being who you are, trust in the Lord, lean not on your own understanding. In all you do, acknowledge Him and He will direct your path. Okay? There's nothing God cannot do. When things doesn't seem like it's working, thank God and move on. Think about the good sides of it. And when you need somebody to talk to friends, you can always call me at any time. A problem shared is a problem half solved. Okay? Talk. Because you find out that, especially people at your age, most people don't mix up. There's too much loneliness and people not interacting. So you have to, but luckily, the best thing is to have a church group, which you do, and that gives you where to go. Some people will just stay, and those are the things that lead to depression and loneliness and stuff like that. But in our community, we like to have a communal living. You mix up with people that way. You get a lot of things off your mind. Yeah. Because this generation is, what do you call you people? This generation is, everyone is on the internet and that talking to people is no longer there.
Gen Z.
Mhm. Need to
Yeah.
even find out how people are doing, you know.
Yeah, that's actually a thing I saw somewhere is like we've kind of replaced human relationships with like these pseudo relationships because you
Hmm.
see people talking online. In
Yes,
some
yeah,
ways you think, that can
yeah.
like suffice for
Hmm.
relationships in some way, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it doesn't, yeah.
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 So, how have things changed for you now? I mean, how many years has it been since you moved to the US? Like,
20, 26 years.
yeah. So how would you say things have changed for you now versus the person you were 26 years ago when you first moved here?
A lot, a lot. Now I'm settled, I'm established, I'm looking forward to, retirement and living my life. Probably moving back to Nigeria or just be coming and going. It's
Wow.
been good. God has been good.
Nice. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to our conversation as much as I did. I learned some things I never knew about her and maybe even myself through those questions. Our relationship isn't perfect, but I'm truly blessed to have such an amazing mother. I'll leave a list of the questions I asked in the description box, and I encourage you to go through any or all of them with a parent or an older figure in your life and see what you learn. I'd love to know if you do, or if you have any thoughts whatsoever on today's episode. You can reach me via Instagram at the Making Space Podcast. You can also follow for more content. Please rate or review the podcast wherever you listen, and share this with someone who would benefit from hearing our conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode of Making Space. Bye!